Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. My name is Dave. I'm the work here at Leadership Pathway. The co-founder. We started this 9 years ago to help churches find people and get them into ministry, no matter their age, but especially young leaders. And we get to talk. We get to talk to one of those people today. I'm excited to welcome Nick Smith of Skyline. Is it Skyline Church? Skyline Community Church? Skyline Wesleyan Church?
That's it. That's it.
Nick Smith of Skyline. Introduce yourself. What are you doing? Where are you?
Yeah, right now, I am in a basic closet office is what we call them around here. So super grateful for the space just to work. And I get to serve at one of our satellite campuses. So one of our non-central campuses over in Lakeside, which is awesome, as the associate campus pastor. And
Okay.
so that role is basically what it sounds like. It's just basically whatever the campus needs, I get to do it. So right now I oversee youth. And I actually get to coach and train my own youth resident as part of that. But then I also get to support with pastoral care and occasionally preach and do a bunch of different stuff. It's awesome.
Skyline's a big church. It's a big, awesome church, right? Blowing up
Yep.
in the good ways. Blowing up good, like growing,
Yes.
not blowing up bad. There's a lot of big
No.
churches doing that. We don't want to do that. We're growing.
Yeah, no. Growing deep and wide.
Oh, I like that. Most
There's an old
weeks
church
it's
song about that.
videoed. Jeremy, your senior pastor, is he on video most weeks?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we
Okay.
stream from the central campus. So
Yeah.
Jeremy's preaching, and then we stream the video over at
Okay.
our campus, probably 48 weeks out of the year.
Right.
Usually once a quarter, we get a live preaching opportunity. So
Okay. And then you guys, what do you draw straws? Do you fight over it? You arm wrestle?
mostly it's Ted. He's our campus pastor. He was my residency coach too.
Yes.
And but it's mostly him because it's an opportunity for the campus pastor to, speak culture, connect with that
Okay.
congregation, which they're the shepherd of that congregation, right? They're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
pastoral care and loving on them. But then also speak vision for that specific congregation. One of those vision pieces, for instance, just to give you a more specific example, is we're doing like a building project on our campus.
I heard.
We're
Yeah.
raising a barn, which is a metaphor, but also actually what we're doing.
You're
So
Amish. I did
it's
not.
something.
Skyline Amish Church. I didn't know you
No,
were
no, no, no.
Amish. That's great.
I do have an Amish cousin, but not quite.
Hey, I was a
Um,
Mennonite once. It's okay.
hey, come on,
We
man.
need
Come
these
on.
people.
Great, great
Somebody has
facial
to drive
hair.
the buggies in America. We need horses. I mean, the buggy business. Never mind. I'm not. I shouldn't say
No,
that. That's
no,
offensive.
no. Somebody's got to keep the cell phone companies on their toes. That's really what it is, and the heating and air companies.
I've never seen a cell commercial with a guy driving his buggy on the phone. He's got to be
Nope.
hands free. Has
Yeah,
AirPod.
not since 1872. You haven't seen that since
I
like
did see. Okay, how did we go? We're going down this hole. I saw a clip in what do you call them? You know what the kids are doing.
yeah, the Instagrams
Instagram
or
of a
the
dude
Tic
doing
Tacs.
donuts last week when they had all that ice and snow across the
Oh,
Midwest.
crazy.
A dude in his buggy was literally doing donuts in Walmart. And I'm
Wow.
like, go dad. You are like
Come
the
on.
cool dad right now. And I hope your horse doesn't like throw a hip or break something.
Sheesh. Yeah, and make sure you rotate his hooves. That's all I have to say. You don't want uneven tread wear on the horse hooves.
Okay, final comment on this is that my family for years has gone to Amish country, as my mom calls it, and they love it. And my siblings love it. They go up there to Ohio, they eat pie. Any
Nice.
vegetable has like pounds of cheese on it that's baked. They just love it. And
Hmm.
they buy their furniture up there and they're always trying to get Kristen and I to meet them. And they have no idea what I do for a living, so I know they're not watching this video, by the way.
Come on.
Maybe this will drive some clicks. We'll get some
Yeah, you
hate
never know.
mail from the Amish. Do they have YouTubes?
Yeah, all the Amish will be watching our YouTube video.
I'm
I
not
remember.
editing this out either. I'm leaving
No,
it
we'll
in.
just keep it in. It's fine.
This has been the happiest 3 minutes of my day, and it's after 3 o'clock in Denver. That's a lie.
It's great.
I've actually had a great day. Okay,
Great.
what were we talking about? What's your name?
My name's Nick.
Nick from from Skyline Amish
Yeah,
community.
not from
Okay,
the
so you
Amish group.
preach a little bit. When you say oversee youth, do you mean you're there on Sunday nights or Wednesday nights with the students? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I get to facilitate that space and get to, make that environment awesome, get to invest in volunteer leaders. Basically everything a youth pastor would do, I do.
Okay.
And
Very
then
cool.
I get to raise up a youth resident who's coming up with me right now
Right on. I love it.
um he's getting to learn all that with me too.
I love it.
So I
And
don't
eventually
necessarily
you're
do
home.
all the pieces because I make him do all the pieces, but
Don't tell him that.
I
Don't
get to
say that.
oversee the pieces,
You're
right? So
equipping him for the future. Okay.
that's right.
All right. I want to talk about how did we get here? Let's go back.
I ask
Um,
my question that I ask myself that question every day, Dave. How did I get
uh,
here?
well, at my age, we look at the GPS. I'm like, how did I get here? Anyway, I might edit that out because
Fair
Kristen
enough.
hates it when I make fun of us for being so old. I should probably edit that.
All right.
Um, who were you in high? Where did you grow up? What was high school? And who were you an athlete? Were you the band kid or who were you?
With my striking good looks and my body posture, so many people ask me if I was an athlete. It's crazy. But no, I was not the athlete.
You were the oboe player in the orchestra.
I wish, man. The oboe player in the orchestra also played death metal on the weekends, so it was pretty crazy. It's a crazy combination.
Where'd you grow
Um,
up?
I grew up actually in East County, so just down the
Oh,
street from our central campus,
okay.
in Rancho San Diego, California, which is like
What a
if you
hard place
don't
to grow
know,
up, isn't it?
it's tough, man. It's tough being in modern day suburbia. It's a
Do you have
tough
a
life.
lot of Amish in San Diego?
Not that I know of. They're
Okay.
not in the phone book, so I can't really look them up. But
Phone book.
I mean, they're not. So,
Where's Mr.
but
McGregor?
grew up, yeah.
Oh,
So
we
yeah,
love
grew up right
Amish
down
people.
down the street.
This is not
Yeah, no,
the official view of Skyline Community Church
that's
or
right.
Leadership Pathway. This is just a couple guys hanging out. No one's going to watch, so we're fine.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Um, their
Okay, so your
subreddit
high
is
school
probably
was
growing it
there.
though.
This is your
Yeah, high
home
school was
church.
right down the street. It was not my home church. I grew up at a different church,
Okay.
but I did grow up just down the street from Skyline
Okay.
and grew up in this community
Okay.
and graduated from high school. In high school, I was, believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe now, but I was the popular kid. So I was ASB president like my junior year of high school, and then I represented all the high schoolers on the governing board, the
Nice.
district governing board, my
Wow.
senior year.
A little
Um,
politician.
yeah, a little bit actually growing up. People actually knew me by my first and my last name. So nobody ever said Nick. They called me Nick
Nick
Smith. So
Smith.
when I introduced myself, I was like, Nick. They're like, "Are you Nick Smith?" I
Nick
was like,
Smith,
"Yes, I'm Nick
my
Smith." So that's
representative.
exactly.
I'd like to
From
file a complaint. The bathrooms are bad at the high school. We need
yeah,
these fixed. Do you get a
I
lot of
got
that?
bathrooms. I got why is there no Kool-Aid in the drinking fountains? I got all sorts of stuff
What
growing
was your
up.
platform you ran on, though? Vote for me.
Um,
I'll.
You want to know how I actually got started? It was an idea from my grandma. She said, "You got to run on this platform, pick Nick." And then I handed out guitar picks, a
Oh,
little pick Nick on there. So it was pretty sweet.
I
And
like it.
then
Are you a guitar
after high
player?
school,
Are you a guitar
uh,
player?
I
You play.
can fiddle around,
All right,
but
cool. All right.
yeah.
So after high school, you were thinking what? You went to school somewhere, or what'd you do?
I went to Azusa Pacific for a couple of years to study English. I thought I was going to be a high school teacher because that's what a lot of my role models and mentors were.
How about
And
that?
then during that time, sensed a call to ministry.
Okay,
And
let's stop right there because I love this. What does that mean?
I really was wrestling with, I wanted to go into ministry. Actually, I kind of had this dream since I was a kid of being a pastor. After I decided to go into ministry, my mom produced this like little picture that she had saved. And on the back, it says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And on the front, I had drawn myself as a pastor. And I was like 7 or 8 years old at the time. And
So you
so,
wanted to be the guy up front talking. Is
I
that
don't
what you
know if
did at
that was so much
7?
it,
How
but
did you
yeah,
draw it? What
maybe.
was the picture?
It was me, believe it or not, it was me in a three-piece suit in front of the background of the kid ministry
Wow.
stage that I grew up at.
How about
So it's like,
that?
yeah, so it was pretty fun. Um, so that when she produced that, it was like I think it just sparked something, a realization in me that, oh, maybe this is a seed that God kind of has
For sure.
planted long ago and
Listen,
watered.
man, I mean, a lot of people have told me, especially the second career people, like the 35-year-old who's going into,
Yeah,
and they'll be like, yeah, my granny told me when I was 7, or my mom or my dad, or I knew I was going to do this and then I didn't. So that's kind of cool.
there you go. So
So, but
for me
two
specifically,
years into college, and you're like, wait, what,
yeah,
what was happening?
there was just there was honestly just this is gonna sound mystical, but just felt like the Holy Spirit tugging at my heart of, hey, I want you to just prepare and be ready. I don't know, I didn't know what
Oh,
that was gonna look like. So that was like towards the end of my third semester of college. And then during my fourth semester of college, so this is
yeah,
into the back half of the second year,
yeah.
my home church that I did grow up at called me and said, "Hey, we want you to come down and spend 2 years kind of training and preparing to take over the youth ministry here at your at my home church." So,
Are we
which sounds
not
so
allowed to
familiar,
use
I
the
know.
name? We're not allowed to
What's
use the
that?
name. Are we allowed to use the name?
Oh yeah, it was called Gateway. It was a Baptist
Gateway
church.
Baptist. Okay.
It was a little mid-sized church, reached about 500, 600 in
It's
like
so
the peak of its
funny.
life
Okay, so
cycle.
that's funny. Mid-sized church.
I mean, comparatively, right?
500. 500. You're in the top 8% in America, by the way.
Oh, that's
That's
pretty good.
amazing to
Yeah.
think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coming from your perspective.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, now my perspective here at Skyline, right? Which is just different.
Well, and too,
But
and so I mean, you're a junior in college, and they're like, "Hey, we got this opportunity. Come on down."
yeah, yeah. So I've transferred schools, finished my biblical studies degree, because that semester I'd switched my major to biblical
Okay.
studies.
Okay.
Switched schools to finish my biblical studies degree
Yep.
down here in San Diego. And then for those 2 years I was in school, I was working part-time at Starbucks, and then I was working as a basically what Leadership Pathway would call like a youth resident is basically
Nice.
what I was doing is I was spending 2 years. Of course, this was before Leadership Pathway, and it was a
Could have used
smaller church
this.
that
You
did.
might have turned out if we'd been around. Think about that.
I know. Where could I have been now? Um, but this was like basically residency before
Yeah.
Leadership Pathway or residency
Sure.
ever became part of my vocabulary.
So good. Who
And
was the
then
person? Who was the person doing this for you?
it was actually Ted, my who was my residency coach when I went through residency with Leadership Pathway and is my boss now.
Okay.
And so we trained for that period of time. He
That
handed it off to me. And I spent about a year doing full-time youth ministry
I don't
as
remember
a youth
this in the
pastor.
story. I don't remember this.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
I ended up stepping away from ministry because
Oh.
when I was 20, my parents got divorced. They split up and got
Oh.
divorced. And it kind of shook up my little sandcastle of identity that I'd built up for myself. And I spiraled into a season of kind of depression and then also
Wow.
some like moral failure, and
Okay.
ended up revealing that to my church leadership, and they tried to come alongside me for with some accountability and a
Okay.
growth plan for a season.
Yeah.
And during that season I just didn't it just did not go as I had hoped and as they were hoping. So I ended up stepping down from that position and spending a
Okay.
couple years just working in different jobs. I was teaching in high school, in the public high schools. Um, I was still kind of supplementing income with Starbucks at that point.
Okay.
I did a lot of different things. Got married. We found a new church because that my home church kind of fell apart in that season.
Oh, man.
And so when we got married, we were like, my wife Bonnie and I said, "Hey, this is a perfect opportunity to find
Sure. Of
like
course.
transition into a
Yeah.
different church." So we were there for about a year. This church called The Hill, which is above Helix High School, really great church.
Uh-huh.
really cool story of revitalization, church
You're
revival.
how old at this point?
25.
Okay.
So this is
So
over like,
3 years
oh,
out of school or whatever.
yeah, so this is over
Okay.
3 or 4 years out of school.
And are you thinking,
Um,
I'm just curious, are you thinking I'm gonna be in ministry someday? Or are you thinking, yeah, I am messed up, man. I'm gonna be a barista and teach high school.
Honestly, I think it was still in my heart of, man, I'd love to get back to that place, but I felt like I had like surrendered my calling is basically how I would put
Yeah.
it.
That's
Is
the
I
downside of
understand.
calling, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
seriously, when
It's a high bar.
it's a
It's a
high
high bar
bar,
when
and
when
then you
God
think,
says,
well,
I see
I'm
something
out.
in you. When God and your church says, I see something in you that you don't see in yourself,
Right.
and you want to meet that bar, and then it doesn't go textbook, or for me, I went through a
Yeah.
night of this dark night season,
Dark night of the
and
soul.
yeah, and also made some bad choices, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
admittedly leaned into some sin and
Yeah.
in that season and was not healthy. And I should not have been in ministry at that
Sure.
time because I needed to do some healing
Well,
and some
listen,
learning. And
we were we were at a church once, and each week, the at some point, you don't normally the pastor would say, "You're welcome here, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you."
hmm
And so you were in that season. Your
yeah,
parents and the breakdown of all you didn't deserve any of that. You're just collateral damage at that point. But then, so what's been done to you? But then what you
right.
did.
Yeah, my
So to me,
response.
man, here's the
Yeah,
deal. I mean, I don't listen. As Paige on our team would say, when you've met one leader, you've met one. When you hear one,
yeah,
everyone's story is like on this topic. Everybody's story is as unique as their thumbprint. I take nothing away from the people that grew up in a religious home with amazing parents, and it sounds like, well, a Leave It to Beaver, and everything's perfect, and they go off and they're faithful for 40 years at one. It's great, good, that's awesome. We need people like that. Most of us are not in that scenario.
yeah,
So when I hear that story, I'm like, wow, think how much more effective you're going to be because you went through. Would you pick it? Of course not, man.
right,
Of course not. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
right.
But Christ in his grace redeemed that.
Yeah, and I think that was what I kind of picked up once I had the opportunity to go back into ministry was we had moved away, my wife and I, during COVID because 2020 the world shut down. We had moved away in 2021 to a little strip of coast in California called Big Sur. We were working on a resort back there, and we just sensed God saying like, "Hey, I want you to move back down home." So we made all of our plans, and about a week before we were going to move back home, we found out we were pregnant, and so came down to be around family. And at that time, I called Ted and I said, "Hey, where are you guys going to church? Like, we want to plug into a good church. So where are you?" And they were like, "Hey, we're at Skyline Lakeside. Come check it out." So we checked it out for about 6 weeks. We got down to San Diego in January. The second or third week of January, we went to Skyline Lakeside, stayed there for about 6 weeks, and said, "Hey, you know what? This is the church we want to be at. This is where we feel God's calling us right now." And then the seventh week, they brought up Ted and they were like, "Hey, this is going to be our new campus pastor, Ted Brent." And I was like, "Oh, this is starting to be deja vu all over again." And it really became deja vu when in the summer he said, "Hey, we've got some middle schoolers on this campus, but there's no youth ministry here. I want you to, be part of the team that starts youth ministry on this campus." So I said, "Yeah, sure. I can volunteer and like be part of the team." And he said, "No, no, no. I think you heard me wrong. I want you to lead the team that starts youth ministry here." So I did that for about 5 months in starting in June of 2023 and sorry, June of 2022. Started that for about 5 months just as a volunteer. And then I got a call from Tony Simoncini, who is our residency director over here and one of our executive pastors. And he said, "Hey, you know what? This is in September. I'm September, October. I'm starting this new residency thing. I want you to come be a part of it. And we've seen the stuff you're doing with the youth over there on that campus. I want you to be a part of it. And um, the week that residency started was the week my son was born. So I actually missed the first residency like coaching meeting because I was in the hospital
And
when my
Kristen
son
said,
was
"You're
born.
out. I'm kicking you out. You're not
Yeah,
allowed to
that's
miss."
right.
My husband didn't take a week off when his kid was born, which is true, by the way. We
I
won't
think it
talk
was
about it.
actually, I think his birth date was actually the first meeting of residency.
Kristen's like,
So
kids these days, they're just not committed to the cause.
yeah, yeah, I know.
No,
Golly, these
no.
millennials, Gen Zs, borderliners. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's a great story. Listen,
yeah,
I've met Ted, right?
yeah,
We're best
once or
friends.
twice.
Way to go, my best friend Ted, because he knew you
Yeah,
and he's putting you
he
back in the
knew
game.
me. He'd worked behind, yeah, he had worked with me before and developed me
Yeah,
and I mean, he was my pastor growing up too. He
yeah.
married my wife and I. So
Okay.
he walked with me through that whole season of that dark night of the soul too.
Yeah,
It wasn't like
yeah,
I stepped away
yeah.
from church or anything. I was still going to church and
Yep,
still
yep.
involved in the
Sure.
community. But but uh, he knew, okay, you're in a better place now. Like you
Yeah,
have some years of healing and
sure,
marriage
sure.
and growth under your belt, and I think it's time for you to step back in and called me out.
Yeah.
Uh, and
These are the
I
best
think during
stories
that
to me.
season, I realized it was that my calling was never mine to surrender. Now
Right.
I could walk in it or not, but God wanted
Yeah.
to use me,
Yeah.
and for His purposes, for His glory, it was
Yep.
never mine to determine
Yep.
what the start or end date was or what the parameters
Yeah.
were on that. And so that was kind of how I got back in it. That's how I got introduced to obviously y'all in that team, and that's where our story picks up
Man,
together. So
I'm hoping all the people that ought to be watching this stuck with us through the Amish rant because there's somebody, I bet there's somebody, I mean, that's the best story, dude. There always has to be a path back to this stuff.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be careful with what I say because I tend to say, I take things overboard a little bit.
You extrapolate or hyperbolic
For sure.
hyperbolic.
But
Yeah.
and I know there's church hurt out there, right? And I know there are some things, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, right? There's some people that have been greatly hurt by all kinds of stuff. We've all done it.
Yeah.
But I've got one story in my life in particular where someone was, let go, made an example of it at a church staff, and there was no path back. It was like he'd done the unpardonable thing or something. And that's a ding. That's a ding, you know. So Ted, what a great. I mean, he had been. What I hear is proximity. He knew you. He had been close to you. He knew that he'd walked it with you.
Yeah.
And gosh, what a great example for all leaders when their good buddies go through stuff. We don't just call HR and exit them with some signed documents.
Right.
So I
Yeah, and I
had
think it
either
was
heard all of that and totally forgotten it, which is very possible, or I had never heard of that before. I didn't know that, dude.
yeah, yeah, I think proximity is a good word because he was
Yeah.
just around, he was just around and available. And, we would go to coffee during that season. I would give him updates on, hey, this is what I'm learning in counseling, or this is
Yeah.
what I feel like God's speaking to me as I'm going through this healing process, right? Of processing through all that. And, he was just willing to share parts of his story and things he had been through and what he had seen the Lord do and just lay it out there. And hey, you can take this or leave this, but this is, you know, what I think God's word says about that. Um, and it was impactful, right? It was long form, long term in the trenches discipleship
Yeah. Yeah.
that, honestly changed my entire life, the
Of course.
trajectory
That's
of my
what
entire life.
you took the words right out of my mouth. Change the
Yeah.
trajectory of your life.
So
So cool.
It's good, man. I'm super grateful for him. And then I guess from that start point, uh, jumping into residency and just kind of continuing to just plow the soil and tend and seed and water over with the youth ministry over at Skyline Lakeside, just kind of slowly, continued to grow. And
Yeah.
so grew into that,
Yeah.
eventually grew into like this youth pastor position out of my residency, growing into this youth pastor
Yeah.
position. But as the youth ministry is growing and as that calling came up, then also the campus is growing.
Yeah.
And when I got there in March of 2022, my years are all weird. I
Yeah.
still wake up and I'm like, it's 2026. What does that mean? No, I think it would have been, yeah, March of 2022, because that's when my son was born,
Okay.
was September of
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Uh, the campus was about 200, 250,
Hmm.
right? And we're live streaming, and there was like seven middle schoolers roaming the campus. And then by June of 2025, right? So just this last year, no, June of 2024.
Hmm.
So 2 years ago, but that's 2 years after, right? With the
Yeah.
residency and everything.
Yeah.
The was about 800 a weekly, and the youth group had grown to about 50 kids every
Wow.
week. And um, so it's just a quick growth. And so my role kind of just continued to develop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
From res youth volunteer to youth resident, and
Yeah.
eventually to youth pastor, and then eventually to where, I'm sitting at today of just kind of straddling both hats
Right.
and both realms and
Right.
just getting to do ministry and love on people. It's a blessing.
Well, I believe, and it sounds like you just did. You could probably just take the text from my AI note taker. People are like, how do we do leadership pipelines for, there you go. That's what you
Yeah.
do right there. You said it. From volunteer to leader to resident and was it, I guess it was Ted, Tony, the other people in proximity to you calling you out, giving
Yeah.
you an opportunity.
Yeah. It was just, hey, we know you have these skills
Yeah.
and talents.
You want to
We
try it?
know, yeah.
We
And it
make it
wasn't
so
just,
complex, man.
yeah, I
We
think
really
people,
do. And I'm just like, maybe you should just give him a shot.
yeah, I think where I've gone wrong as a leader in the past with that is I haven't taken the time sometimes to get to know people deeply. And so I'm like, hey, I see you, you're a cool person. I've had this relationship with you for maybe a couple months at church, but I don't really know you that deeply. Whereas Ted took the time to really know me deeply over a long time. So when I got to Skyline Lakeside and he wanted to start a youth ministry and he was like, "Hey, I want you to do this." He wasn't just calling on a resume. He was calling on a
Totally.
person that he knew
Totally.
that also had experience and background um but he knew my story and knew my journey.
Yeah. When I
Uh
get asked what is it? What's leadership pathway? And I'm like, it's proximity and it's talking. It's being close to someone that might do this someday and talking. And you're
mhm.
listening and asking questions and speaking into their life at the appropriate time. But you got to be close or you won't know when to push. Like that's a
Yeah.
mistake I've made. I'm pushing on this and I haven't taken the time that Ted took. I'm thinking everybody needs a butt kicking and a rah rah halftime speech. No, we just need to sit down and have a Diet Coke together this afternoon.
Yeah.
Good for
Honestly.
Ted. Now you get to do this for the next person. Who's your resident?
Yeah, my youth resident, his name is Micah.
Okay, yeah.
He's awesome. So he graduated from Indiana Wesleyan. Little shout
Okay.
out for anybody
Yeah.
listening out there. It's the least
Yeah.
I can do. So he
Hmm.
graduated from there in 2025. And so
Okay.
then he came out and started our residency program out here with Skyline in June of 2025. And so we've been jamming together in ministry ever since.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been awesome. Been great to be able to turn around and coach and lift up and try to just be there,
Yeah.
right, as much as possible in life, but also in
Sure.
ministry. So
I mean, right before this, it was a Lutheran guy. Let's make fun of Lutherans now. I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that.
They'll start knocking on your door if you make fun of Lutherans too hard. So
Uh, yeah, we were talking. He's trying to get this going in there's a lot of different kinds of Lutherans, right? So in his denomination. And you know, these were I was trying to describe for him how this works. And he wanted to know about the curriculum. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't call it curriculum. I call it
hmm
some very broad concepts that you want to watch for and look at.
right.
But proximity and knowing these people, and if there's one thing that we really don't want to do is spend the time that takes, because that
Yeah.
takes time. That's what we don't have. We have the money, we have the resources, we've got more content than you could ever watch or read. The universe is full of so many helpful things, but what's a 20 to 25-year-old need? Time. They
Yeah.
need time.
Well, I think
And
it's
you've had
time,
that
the
model for me.
conception of time is different, right? I think sometimes we get into oh, I'm going to put, even with residency coaching and his time, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to put 4 hours a week into this, or we're going to do an hour and a half
Yeah.
one-on-one every week, or whatever. We put it into those time chunks, but
Yeah.
it's the time of discipleship is not in minutes and hours or even weeks, it's in years, right? We're
Yeah.
talking like,
Yeah.
how can I be around and be present with you for years? And that in itself is a pastoral work, that's a work of shepherding for sure. Jesus was with his guys for at least 3 years before
And
he
think
sent them
about the
off.
time, their perspective. It was like, let's go 25 miles that way and we'll do some stuff.
Yeah,
Like, how we hopping on the train? No,
yeah,
we're going to walk.
yeah,
That's been a big thing for me the last year. It's one of my things I'm harping on. Like, I want to, I want to develop leaders like Jesus or Paul. I'm like, well, they're unfair advantage. You
yeah,
wouldn't need a diet. You wouldn't need a workout coach. You wouldn't need a therapist because we would have worked it all out by the time we even got there to start to do the thing.
yeah,
And so when we lose proximity in time, when it's like, and none of them are perfect, right? And it's like, well, our intern's struggling, right? Tell me about your one. And it's like, well, we FaceTimed last week I was in the back of an Uber on the way to the airport,
yeah,
on a missions trip, and then 2 weeks of a conference, and then vacation. And I'm like, so you haven't been in their physical presence in a month. I did stuff like that to my interns. It's not helpful.
yeah,
You can skip that. I made those mistakes 20 years ago. You don't need to make that mistake.
yeah,
Proximity and time. But in proximity and time is multiplication, man.
yeah,
Ted multiplied himself through you. Now you get to 2x that again into this next person.
right. Yeah. It's a good work, man. It's good. It's worth it.
It is worth it.
It's
It
a hefty
is.
investment, but it's worth it.
It is. And for you personally, where do you see it going? What's your title again? The associate
Associate
campus?
campus pastor, or as Ted likes to say, associate to the campus pastor. So,
Nice. Well, Scott.
um, yeah, I think right now I'm along for the ride. Like I'm just
Yeah.
grateful. I'm still in the season of being just so grateful that
Mm,
God can still use
mm,
me, even though I tried my hardest to surrender His calling in my life, but it was never
yeah.
mine to surrender. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, grateful to God, grateful to
Yeah.
Ted.
Yeah.
So I
Who's your
think
coach? Who's your leadership pathway person?
Kristen.
Oh, is it Kristen?
Yeah, well, Ryan, Kristen and Ryan.
Ryan
More
Latham?
Ryan now. It started as Kristen,
Yeah.
but Ryan came on team and we've kind of built a relationship and he's been,
Kristen's idea of a baton handoff, she's in the she's still she's down in turn 3. She's still got a hold of it. You let go of this now.
yeah.
Hopefully she doesn't watch these.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'll hear
she
about
might
that
need to
too.
start watching yours, Dave. She
She's
might
like,
need to,
listen, I thought it was bad you were making fun of Amish country, but then you made fun of me.
Dave, we can cut that part out if you want.
No, I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. Um, we have a coach. The reason we have this guy Hayden who tells his story, but he's second career. He had been in Christian University and then dropped. He had a yours was a couple years. His was 8 years, and wound up teaching. Very similar. Did had some stuff done to him and did a bunch of stuff, and
Mm,
wound up teaching. And then one day he's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. Went into residency. I did his 1 year assessment. So at the end of the first year, you get half a day
yeah.
with someone and try to make them cry. With my definition of a 1 year assessment, I try to make him cry. I couldn't. And I was in the room with him. He's in Lexington, Kentucky, and we should have him on to tell this story. But I'm like, bro, come on. And I'm like trying to get down to what's the problem so we can have a plan the second year. And he
Yeah.
finally is like, listen, man, I know what a bad day is. And it just struck me. There he is at 26, 27 or something. And I'm like, boy, the seasoning of the Dark Knight stuff
Yeah.
and for him, it wound up in drugs and all sorts of things that he would talk about freely, I think. And I hope. Uh, those things I think qualify us to be used. And I jokingly tell my story like I grew up in a great house with great parents. My dad was an elder, and I wish right now I could tell you that it all went sideways and I went to jail for a decade and came out and but I can't. I've got this amazing legacy. I've got
Yeah.
somewhat of a Pollyanna sort of cheesy Christian story.
Yeah.
You can relate to people I can't relate to. Hayden can relate to people that I can't relate to. And I just think that I'm so encouraged.
Well, you know what I think is so fun about residency is Micah comes from a legacy family
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
Yeah,
And so I get to say, okay, how can I
yeah,
coach him where he's at?
right.
And then also, there's no, I can't download it into him, but how can I learn from his perspective and
Sure.
give him a piece of my perspective
Of course.
and hand that off to him?
Of course.
Um, because like you said, there's some mistakes that we don't need to people don't need to be repeating. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Some things
Absolutely.
that we do, what,
Absolutely.
and I'm not just talking about sin.
That's right.
I'm not talking about sin, but there's some things we do in ministry that they don't need to be repeated. Like
Yeah.
you can just learn from me. You don't have to learn on your own. And I really appreciate that about Micah. He really leans into that. He's just like a
Yeah.
sponge. Just, all right, we're just doing it this way now. Like, you know, receives that wisdom and um, super good.
Yeah.
Super
This
good.
has been great. I wish I could bottle that and just run around and just like spray it on and just like replicate all of that into
Yeah.
all of these
Well,
other places.
maybe a YouTube video will help. Maybe that's like the
Maybe a YouTube
digital
video will
version.
help and maybe it'll go viral because of our
I
I
don't
think it's
think that
gonna
group exists.
I don't think it's
I
gonna
don't think
happen.
hashtag Amish is trending anytime soon.
Is things that will never trend. Hashtag Amish. Although there was a TV show, remember is that before your time? This has been a while. That those were kids leaving. I think it was called
Yeah.
Leaving Amish. Leaving is something Amish. Kristen watched it.
They didn't want to call it deconstructing Amish. That would have been so on the nose. Are you kidding me?
It was before
Oppor-
deconstructing was cool.
Fair enough. Well, the Amish did everything before it was cool. So,
When when's youth group, by the way? Is it tonight?
Tuesday nights for us. So,
Tuesday nights.
today's a Wednesday. We just had it last night on Tuesday nights.
Cool. All right, man. Nick Smith of Skyline Wesleyan. The Wesleyans are cool. I'll tell you, there was a Wesleyan in Atlanta. I mean, he was so inspirational to me for Leadership Pathway. And he came
Mm.
out of 12 Stone Church. And Wesleyans were doing this residency stuff a lot longer before most of us. So kudos to all of that.
That's the whole method, if you will,
Yeah,
which is a
that's
Wesleyan
right.
joke because we
Yeah,
descended from the Methodists. But yeah.
right. All right, dude. Nick Smith, thanks so much.
Appreciate you.
All right, later on.